Hello. I am so happy to be back. What did I miss? Did I miss anything? Anything at all? No? Good. I'll get to the events of the American weekend in just a little bit. And I've also got a truly terrifying story to tell you from an otherwise lovely vacation safari in South Africa with our adventurous friend Ron McGill. But first, let me tell you about where I have been and where I think and hope and pray I'm going after what I believe to be one of the most inspiring experiences of my life. The audio audience will have to forgive me, but for those on television, here are just a few of the more than 17,000 plus photos that Ron took at my side. We went with our wives through Botswana and Zimbabwe, and it really was the trip of a lifetime, filled with light and laughter and love, and some of the most breathtaking things I've ever seen or felt. Today has been Greg Cody's Tuesday for many years. It's usually a circus, complete with animals, because in the shadow of those Tuesdays, swinging on a vine around all the proceedings, is this giant of a man, Ron McGill from Zoo Miami, who towers over us in more ways than one. He's the longest standing guest our show has in its history, and its most popular. Absurd as it sounds, I had to fight ESPN executives on nothing more consistently than keeping his non-sports segment on our show, so you can imagine my delight when they eventually started using him on SportsCenter to decide who would win fights in the animal kingdom between sports mascots. For more than 15 years, while becoming one of America's foremost wildlife authorities, Ron has made weekly appearances with us and never been paid a solitary cent. But his is the only charity with which our show has ever aligned consistently because A, he personally bypasses all bureaucracy to get funds directly to people he trusts to care most correctly, and B, he's a man of uncommon moral rectitude. Ron has never had a drink, a cigarette, or so much as a traffic citation. He hasn't taken a sick day from work in more than 30 years. His idea of being reckless and irresponsible is, I'm not making this up, having a Coca-Cola. In these troubling times, I really do wish more people had a fraction of his decency and sense of right. Ron organized this intimate safari for just a few of Zoo Miami's biggest donors. I'm not one of them, but you are. You, $10 and $20 and $100 at a time, represent the single largest contributor to his endowment, which has now ballooned to more than $3 million and represents the greatest professional pride of a distinguished 44-year career nearing retirement. It was an honor to be with him as he gave thousands of your dollars to the people in Botswana protecting the endangered cheetahs and the people in Zimbabwe successfully growing the population of the endangered painted dogs. I paid full price for the safari, of course, because every penny of that endowment goes directly toward the animals and conservation efficiently, no matter how much we joke that Ron is buying Cadillacs and clothes with that money. But you're the only reason I even got this opportunity, and I've got to tell you, I spent the last 2 weeks in a perpetual state of awe and wonder and discovery I didn't know possible. My God, I saw and learned so much. It's one thing to know that an elephant's trunk has more than 40,000 individual muscles and that a human only has about 700 in the entirety of the body, and that trunk can do everything from pick up a dime to pull down a tree. But it's quite another to sit stunned in a vehicle because you simply can't believe this 5-ton creature can somehow walk right by you so silently. Frankly, I could have gone without ever learning just how small and scared I'd feel to startle a mother elephant in front of her baby and have her trumpet all of her menacing disdain in my direction. Every day on this trip, we went on 8 hours worth of excursions deep into the unknown. Animal dung everywhere, but not an ounce of human litter anywhere to be found. Lions sleeping with nursing cubs, close enough to touch. Same with rhinos and their nursing babies. Elephants and hippos and buffalo threatening us. A giraffe standing in a cemetery of elephant bones and spreading bow-legged to reach down to the ground just to chew on those bones for calcium. Jackals and hyenas and honey badgers and antelope and zebras and warthogs and cheetahs and leopards, and so many birds, including penguins. Yes, penguins. I didn't even know there were any of those in Africa. An impala at one point ran right past our vehicle because it was being chased by a lion. Ron was so stunned by that one that he forgot to lift his camera. He said he had never seen it happen before, just like he hadn't before seen a pack of rare painted dogs surrounding and protecting like soldiers the hole out of which they dug up 10 hidden weeks-old puppies that needed nursing. It would not, however, be the most surprised he would be on this trip. There was this one terrifying morning in the darkness that really crystallized for me, especially after what happened with Donald Trump over here, and then what happened with Copa America at Hard Rock Stadium even closer to home, that life and death, chaos and danger are all around us all the time, and all we can really do to protect ourselves is create the comforting illusion of safety for ourselves, for our children, for our democracy, for our sanity. More than ever, it seems, especially in our divided and gun-toting country, armed America, safety really is at our political rallies, at our soccer games, at our concerts, in our classrooms, an optical illusion and an optical delusion. As you saw with our Secret Service, and as you saw with overwhelmed personnel trying to keep soccer passion at bay because they thought this would be like a Miami Dolphins game, we're surrounded at all times only by the semblance of security. It isn't real. There's no such thing as security. So I went to South Africa searching with no illusions. I was a world away from all my comforts and about 1,000,000 miles deep into my discomforts. No televisions, no computers, staying in the most remote places I've ever been, the temperature fluctuating by 50 and 60 degrees between day and night because it's winter there. I might need a gallbladder surgery I've been trying to avoid, and I had a pain in my stomach one night. The fear that gripped me the rest of my sleepless night was the realization that in an emergency, I was 160 miles from the nearest village. I probably don't need to tell you that I'm not much of an outdoorsman. I've been near the Arctic Circle and in other parts of Africa, but this was the most out of my element I've ever been. Going with McGill, though, is like traveling with Tarzan as your tour guide and travel agent. He's been to Africa 54 times, and how much danger could we possibly be? I wasn't thinking at the time that Steve Irwin was killed by a stingray. We stayed in tents, kind of the same way Stugotz mocks J.J. Watt for trying to appear he was roughing it by working out in a cabin that had an elevator. I know what you're thinking. Here's this rich guy lecturing me on his high horse, but I got to tell you, it was an elephant. I'm lecturing you from a high elephant. You have to pay extra for those over there. Our tents were obviously luxury tents with running water, but they were still tents. And the giant animals we could hear just outside at night, hippos and elephants and buffalo and lion, don't really have to respect the tents or the encampment or anything humans put together to make it feel more like order. We were very much in the wild where not many humans had ever been. So one morning, McGill was making the rounds to wake folks up at 6 a.m. He was with a guide, Donald, who had 27 years of experience. Donald's uncle, also a guide, had been killed by a buffalo goring 10 months earlier. In the dark, along a pathway carved out amid trees, McGill and Donald accidentally startled a buffalo that was sleeping on its side in the bushes a few feet away. They hadn't seen it. It was black, both the buffalo and the early morning in an area with very few lights. In a split second, in a panic, the buffalo got up and charged the noise it heard. A bit like a matador, Donald temporarily blinded and disoriented the rampaging beast with a bright light, but all that did was change the animal's direction, not its bucking speed or its wrath. McGill was missed by a matter of feet, hiding and trembling behind a tent pole that, again, only provided the illusion of safety. That beast would have wrecked that pole and McGill. Without that light, one of this show's best friends is dead. It's as scared as he has ever been. The buffalo missed him and gored and destroyed the tent instead. It had charged the only two people among us who wouldn't have been killed by it. Any one of us without their experience would have run or made the screaming sound that ended our life. McGill, a giant of a man, was so thankful that his wife Rita wasn't with him that he immediately ran to where she was and wept in her arms. We probably don't spend enough time in the conscious gratitude for the precious frailty of life and living, or in the conscious mortality of how it can all be taken away with the next step in the next second. If Trump hadn't moved his head a few inches a moment earlier, all of America descends into an anarchy that makes the January 6th insurrection feel like ballroom dancing. I really didn't expect to return from safari after 40 straight hours of travel to discuss an assassination attempt, so let me preface everything on this subject by saying the obvious and proper and most respectful thing, which is that there is zero place in America or politics or humanity for this kind of violence, ever, no matter your affiliation, so we should all be uniform and loud in condemning it. That said, holy shit, man. I got the news of this assassination attempt in the strangest way in an airplane over South Africa. That photograph of a bloodied Trump shaking a fist in the shadow of the American flag popped up on my phone without explanation or elaboration in a text from a friend. I don't even know how it got through. I wasn't online. I didn't have any idea what it was or the context. I initially thought it was some weird Photoshop meant to look like George Washington crossing the Delaware River. That photo might win the Pulitzer Prize and the election, and it, like safety, like security, is one hell of an optical illusion. Trump isn't running for president to live in the White House. He's running for president to not live in prison. You can't embrace and incite and unleash the crazy in your constituency and expect it to always march trained and neatly in the other direction. You can't be the party of guns and expect that all the bullets will always go in the other direction either. That photograph is badass, no question about that. Probably the most badass photo an American president has ever taken. But it is brazen and craven, too, and not just because of how immediately Trump saw and grabbed it as a political opportunity. It isn't brave to stick your head out when there's an active shooter. It's dangerous. It's stupid. I expect Trump to cheapen that photo by putting it on merch and using it to fundraise before I get to the end of this sentence. But I did find the reaction of the people all around him interesting. It really is staggering that in that moment of shock and fear and horror that people stayed where they were and some pulled out their phones. Such is the comfort in the illusion of safety. But I can't blame them. I probably wouldn't have known to flee either. It's the feeling for many of us at the moment, a helplessness so overwhelming and complete that no action feels like the action most critical to survival, as if we're all just hoping to make it home to cry in the arms of our most cherished loved ones. Listen, I've had trouble mustering enthusiasm for much of anything since the death of my little brother, but you know what was the most inspiring thing about my trip these last 2 weeks? Ron McGill himself. He's 64 now and has been doing this since he was a teenager, 44 years at the zoo alone, but he still somehow has the enthusiasm and wonder of a child discovering awe for the first time. He's an award-winning photographer, but a lot of his photographs get ruined because he can't keep his hands still from trembling with excitement. His exuberance rushing into the cold at 6 a.m. every morning allowed us all to borrow his giant, unending enthusiasm. He also happens to be the older Cuban brother I never had. And I don't need to tell you that broken since losing Lebo 10 months ago, I'm valuing brotherhood more these days than I ever have. I've lost too many friends in the last few years of dark struggle in ways that have hurt me profoundly, but I'm comforted so much by the ones who have rushed to my side, one of whom is Ron. Truth is, I probably should have taken the last 2 years off. But I didn't know when we started a business that my little brother was going to need a year of nursing and then die. This show and my life has taken a battering as I stumbled around in that darkness. But I do feel stronger, inspired, reinvigorated. Not healed, but healing. I had misplaced my passion, but the older brother I never had just walked me through the wilderness and lent me some of his. I don't know how I'll ever repay him, but I'm sure you know how. video, please put up the information for his substantive endowment so one of the most loyal audiences in the history of this space can help repay my friend for his never-ending support. We have a pretty cool relationship, you and us, intimate and vulnerable and connected. The greatest compliment we get as a show, and we get it more than any other, is when you tell us that we helped you through a dark time because our laughter felt like medicine and our company felt like company. That relationship, like all the best ones, is reciprocal. So allow me to return the compliment as I return from the healing vacation of a lifetime that was only possible because of you. Thank you so very much and forever for staying by our side, for carrying me, and for helping me get through to the other side of my darkest time.
Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for war, man, forget my peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put them in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough, but man's keep walking. Yeah, just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch me, please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
I don't know about you guys, but I want to hear more about Donald.
Yeah.
I mean,
which one?
Yeah, not the Donald I thought we'd be talking about today.
Oh.
The first note I get is there was also a hippo inside the tent.
welcome back.
I've missed you guys. Legitimately missed you guys.
We miss you. Yeah. And something that I didn't know that I missed so badly was that classic sports reporter cadence.
Oh, man.
What a
Amazing.
parting shot.
Yep.
I was expecting you to toss it to Lupica at the end of that.
Did power go out again?
Was Dick Shapp in the corner giving you the wrap-up signal like 3 minutes in?
I never did the show with Dick Shapp.
John Saunders.
Elephant can't pick up a dime. Get out of here.
All right. Now Stugotz has to do one of equal length detailing the Sphere and Lake Tahoe. Little did I know that the person to my left was tripping balls on acid.
But I did know.
But thanks to Jimmy Roberts, who guided me through Lake Tahoe in the American Century Championship, I found God. And God was a 58-foot putt for birdie by Marty Fish.
Jimmy Roberts has been coming there for 40 years, still has the enthusiasm for it.
I love you telling me how, like, Ron's endowment is on the up and up, and then detailing a really opulent trip.
That he's taken 54 times.
54.
And then you said he was like, he's a government employee. Oh, no, it don't make sense.
It's all an elaborate grift. I go to sleep every night worried that they're going to catch us.
So there I was, sucking on a balloon. What was in this balloon? Who knows?
But I was laughing.
But here comes a touch of gray.
It's the only song you know, right?
I was kind of hoping
Tulsa
that,
time. No, that's a different one.
I was hoping Dan went hunting, and like that was the big twist.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like
trophy hunter over here.
It ends with him just like with the skull Poacher. of a rhino and like a couple of elephant tusks.
I come back totally pro guns, pro killing animals. Yes.
So after that elephant killed me, I decided there was only one way to one way to go about this. Fight fire with fire. That elephant's head now hangs in my living room.
I do think that Stugotz needs to do one of those because I walk in today and because of whatever he's been doing the last 2 weeks, and I don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm. You know what it is.
It's calling his agent, finding out how he can get on Undisputed.
That was yesterday.
There's going to be a bidding war for Stephen A., isn't there? That's what's going to end up happening there, right? A seat just opened up for him. I come in today, and Stugotz says, because he's been off for 2 weeks, I've got an assortment of top 5 lists. Top 5 athletes who connote 4th of July, Lake Tahoe, lakes in general, safaris, Ruths and doctors for Dr. Ruth. And Dan, I've also got an all-time Big East team.
I do.
Big East football or Big East basketball?
Big East basketball, and the reason I have my all-time Big East team is because Kemba Walker retired. He's going to get to the Basketball Hall of Fame. If he gets in, I am done with the Basketball Hall of Fame. He has no business being there. None. He's the Hall of Good. And it's not just good. It's Hall of Good. There's a Hall of Good and a Hall of Good. He's Hall of Good, but he's on my all-time Big East team. How about that?
He's Hall of peaked in college.
Yeah. I mean,
You have an objection
You
about
want it now? I mean-
no, not really. But you have an objection about a number of Hall of Famers, right? You've got Joe Mauer, and Makes You Insane. It reinvigorated the same passion I was just talking about in you when you started ripping Joe Mauer making the Hall of Fame this week.
he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He has no business being a first ballot Hall of Famer. Zero. No business being a first ballot Hall of Famer. But, Mike, I forgot to point this out yesterday. I spent the 2 days at Tahoe avoiding Joe Mauer.
Did you guys create content from Tahoe? Or did
No.
you?
No. We just went on vacation. I spent much of it trying to avoid Stugotz because he reminded me of something I didn't want to be doing, which was working.
So you avoided Joe Mauer, but he's not. Are you as mad at Joe Mauer as you are about Bo Jackson being in the Kansas City Royals Hall of Fame?
It's an absolute joke. Bo Jackson is only getting into the Royals Hall of Fame because he's Bo Jackson. It's a Dan.
Well,
It's
that'd be
an
weird.
absolute joke. No.
It would weird. It'd be weird if he got in because he was Buddy Biancalana. Like,
Dan, you can't be 17th on the all-time Royals home run list and make it to the Royals Hall of Fame when Steve Balboni is not in. I mean, Balboni has to be in. Balboni is not in the Hall of Fame. He has more home runs than Bo Jackson. I'll tell you what Bo was good at. He was good at striking out. He didn't play a lot of games for the Royals, but he is still 11th all-time in strikeouts for the Kansas City Royals. How is that man making a baseball Hall of Fame? He's overrated. He is overrated. OPS is under 750. He is not in the top 10 in homers. He is not in the top 10 in hits, RBIs, or anything. He is top 11 in strikeouts, though. I mean, it's a joke. Seriously.
so he's not top 10 in
When you
strikeouts.
think Kansas City Royals, how many names do you go through before you get to Bo Jackson? You think of Steve Balboni, don't you? You think of Saberhagen. You think of Frank White, Willie Wilson, Amos Otis. You think of Balboni. You think of John Wathan. You think of Larry Gura.
Dan Quisenberry.
Quiz.
Oh,
I mean, it's absurd.
Zach Greinke, Kevin Avery. I just want to
Thank you.
name some more recent ones, possibly.
Mike Sweeney. I mean, Hosmer.
Can you play for me, please, in honor of Stugotz and how well he does this Mad Dog character? Some sound I missed while I was gone.
Or if Biden doesn't come to his senses, or if Obama, or Clinton, whomever it's Obama, Michelle and Barack, if Barack Obama.
I'd love for politics to not matter that much to me.
I mean, Danny Tartable.
Legend. David DeJesus.
Oh, now we're
Are we
talking.
doing this? Are we just doing Royals?
Yeah.
Are we doing it?
No,
Kevin Appier?
No, we're not.
Come
Wait
on.
a minute, I already did Appier.
Mike
Oh, you did?
McFarland.
I'm sorry.
McFarland.
Barack Obama.
I want you to do the whole thing again. I want you to play the whole thing again so you can hear him stumble through the end of this.
Or if Biden doesn't come to his senses, or if Obama, or Clinton, whomever it's Obama, Michelle and Barack, if Barack Obama.
Matt Stairs.
Joe Randa.
Oh!
Matt Stairs was a Royal? He played for everybody. I don't remember him as a Royal.
Oh, man, DH for hire.
Yeah, he was.
Mercenary.
He did play for everyone, though. I'm with you.
I was just guessing.
Yeah.
You guys went to Tahoe just for fun?
Yeah, well, Stugotz is definitely expensing it. Like, you talk to Jason Kelsey on a voice note for 7 seconds, and that's getting on, like, God bless football.
Yeah, I went there for fun. I paid for it. I had a great time. I love that place. I do. I love that tournament. I love that entire place. I love everything about it. And I told Mike yesterday, and I told the crew yesterday, Jason Kelsey, he doesn't own that tournament yet because it's still Travis's and Patrick Mahomes. But within 2 years, Jason Kelsey is going to own that tournament. In fact, I'm convinced after spending time with Jason Kelsey, he's going to own everything. He is a rock star, that guy. There were thousands of people following him around the golf course in which Aaron Rodgers was playing on. No one following Aaron, just Jason Kelsey. Crazy.
I found myself feeling bad for both Kelseys. Because the way they have to react anytime there's a Taylor Swift song played, it's crazy. Like, I saw 3 different times over the weekend where Travis, they're playing a Taylor song. He has to sing all the words and do the finger pointing and the dancing. Let there be one video on the internet of him seeming annoyed by a Taylor song, and that'll be it.
Mm-hmm.
Their comfort with fame is almost envious to watch. How easily they slip it on without fear and with monster charisma and confidence in themselves. It's an unusual thing.
Well, the Taylor Swift economy has been very good for the Kelsey family.
Oh, but well, wait a minute. Yes, of course, but they had tons of personality beforehand.
Yeah, but they don't overnight become the #1 podcast in America. They might over time, but
Mike,
like
that podcast,
instant sensation, microwave, #1 smash hit. The Taylor Swift thing just totally exponentially grew their celebrity.
Oh, it definitely helped. There's no question about it. How could it not? But what Dan is saying is that podcast was already on the right track before he met
no,
that's not what they was saying. That's what I was saying. Like, I agree, but like it just fast-tracked everything for them. Jason Kelsey and Travis Kelsey were the most famous people at a golf tournament that usually, like, they might have had a bigger gallery if Steph and Justin Timberlake were there like they were in years prior. Like, much dwarfed the size of Aaron Rodgers' gallery, like you were saying. There were, like, 4 starting active quarterbacks in there, and the retired former center for the Philadelphia Eagles had a much larger gallery.
That tournament broke attendance records without having Patrick Mahomes and Steph Curry there. Jason Kelsey was the substitute. I mean, he was the new guy in the tournament this year.
What I'm telling you guys, or what I was trying to say, is that they were ready for it. It's the surprising part to me that a center for the Philadelphia Eagles can be so comfortable in his hairy, heavy body that he would step immediately into that and still be himself publicly in a way that's authentic and doesn't have the veneer and the crud that so much celebrity has.
And not jaded by it, because like Taylor Swift's celebrity is unlike anything really on the planet right now. Travis has always kind of wanted to cross over as a celebrity. He's always been kind of looking for it. He's always been super affable. And throughout all of this, being put on that fast track, getting chewed up by this fame monster that surrounds that pop stardom, he's still really authentic. He's still very much the same guy as it would appear. He still carries himself a similar way than he did like prior to all of this, at least from our experience in Lake Tahoe. He's very much the same dude.
What I found truly amazing was the second Travis got there, because he's the bigger star of the two. So Travis got there a couple of days after Jason. Jason was holding court, holding it down until Travis got there. The second Travis got there, the relief for Jason Kelsey, who, because all the credit, they had to have security detail just to get Kelsey to the putting green. And Jason Kelsey finally got a moment to relax because the crowd was off of him and they were all over Travis Kelsey. It's crazy.
That's when you struck.
Yes, I did.
That's
right at the driving range, yes. Yeah,
unsuspecting Jason Kelsey.
A little picture.
I realize now why Stu and myself, like we go to Lake Tahoe the way that Ron McGill goes to Africa. Like, there is just such healing in the lake for us.
So you took a picture here that you were showing me because you're proud of it, or you just
little selfie.
Yeah, you definitely got to do a monologue in which behind you is B-roll of photos of Jason Kelsey and Jack Wagner.
Dan, I'm sorry. I apologize for repeating myself, but I told this yesterday. Jason Kelsey, the reason I took that picture is Jason Kelsey, after a practice round, is perched on like some sort of rock. And there are thousands of people around, and he is signing autographs, shaking hands, kissing babies. And I went up to him right in the middle of the pack, and I said, hey, you need to learn a word, mix it into your vocabulary. No. And he laughed, and, we had a chummy moment, and he pushed me a little bit. And then a half hour later, I asked him to come on the show. And he said yes. And listen, I told you to say no. And he said, I'm not saying no to you. And so then I asked him to come on the next day. I did. And he was willing to do it with Travis. But I let him off the hook because I want him to focus on his golf. So he signed my hat, took a picture. He's coming on God Bless Football
Why
this
do
week.
you act like that around people? Like,
I don't
always
know.
ask for a
I have a
picture or an
problem.
autograph?
I don't know.
Just,
I don't
treat people like people.
Hal Morris.
Good point. Ooh.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Do humans just exist for Stugotz to request things from them?
Warren Cromartie.
Who else did you get autographs from?
Well, that's a good question. I had some hats out there. Charles Woodson signed a hat. I ruined that hat by asking Derek Carr to sign it right after.
Are people still doing autographs? I thought the selfie had replaced the autograph. I didn't even think.
People go there, and that's the opportunity because everyone's super nice with their time. They had to institute a rule at the American Century Championship this year because Stugotz tried to walk in wearing 6 hats. They said you could only wear 1 hat, 1 jersey, because people would go there and wear like 9 layers of jerseys.
Yes.
And just camp out at a hole.
Billy, I got an autographed hat by A-Rod. How about that?
But the thing is like I saw this at Super Bowl. You just have them autograph your dirty hat. And then you're like, how much this is worth? It's like nothing. It's filled with your sweat. And you don't even remember who the people that signed them are. You just ask them to get the it's like you do it for the rush of it, I think.
Course.
And then once you do it, you don't even remember who you've asked.
It started with Michael Penix. They were promoting Sharpie at the Super Bowl.
That
I think
made
it was Roma
sense,
Tuesday. Right, I asked them
sort
to
of,
sign the hat.
because they were
to
promoting
see if the Sharpie's
Sharpie.
working. That's
Yeah.
how we do it on Radio Row. I mean,
But then you ask Little Dicky to sign your hat for no reason.
Who's
Man,
that?
that dirty
Travis Matthews hat signed by Charles Woodson and Derek Carr. You could get a lot for that on the internet.
Never wore it. I mean, it was a new hat. I bought it just for the occasion to get an autograph.
I have to imagine
Ricky Patalico.
Oh,
that a lot of people listening to this have in their garage or in a drawer somewhere that autograph they asked for and never looked at again. I don't know where. Going through Stugotz's stuff, I would assume, would produce an assortment of worthless crud that is just a memory that he doesn't care about anymore of him requesting something from someone else, which isn't a special moment. It's a way of life for him.
I got to tell you, though, it did feel good. Mike was out there for his anniversary. I was trying to work, but I wasn't. I was saying to myself, if I could just speak one word into a microphone, I could expense this entire vacation.
You were trying.
But we couldn't figure it out. But I got to tell you, it did feel good outside of that picture with Kelsey and the autograph, not asking those guys for anything.
Yeah.
And just hanging out with them.
A welcome vacation from you always hustling is you realizing I don't have the means to actually hustle here.
Correct. I have no microphone to walk you over to. I can't speak to you, so I just hung out with them.
Technically inept.
Built
I am
up
nothing.
equity. Right.
And I'm 3 hours behind. Fuentes won't come in at 11 p.m. Eastern.
There's always a lonely guy in Lake Tahoe, Dan. Usually it's Brian Kelly. This year it was me.
You're saying 3 hours behind, and I feel 2 weeks behind because the world is moving very fast, obviously, very crazy. And I'm wondering, as we talk about some of this stuff, if you guys, any of you, have ever had the dream or the recurring nightmare of being late to class or missing your graduation or not being prepared for a test, because I don't know if that's an affliction only for good and responsible students and if you guys were that or not. And I feel like that today because I don't know what you've talked about. I've been off of the grid, so I don't know a lot of stuff that's happened over the last 2 weeks. I tried to cram some last night, but it seems like a ton of things have happened in the last 2 weeks.
Well, you can breathe a deep sigh of relief because we had Wimbledon covered.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, we covered the last 15 years of men's tennis yesterday.
Yes, we nailed it. We did. I mean, tennis has never been discussed more in a sports radio show than it was yesterday with me and Mike. I'm embarrassed.
That's not true. That's not true.
I'm proud.
It was the first 6 minutes of tennis that have ever been discussed on this show.
Without a joke or having to work in a
Right.
funny name like Nefi Perez or Jeff Suppan.
Tom Gordon.
Oh, wow.
Flash.
Dan, it's funny you mention it because while you were gone, we wanted to make sure that when you got back, you didn't miss. We could fill you in on everything you missed. So here you go. Let's watch.
Natural.
I hear the drums echoing tonight, but she hears only whispers of some quiet conversation. She's coming in 12:30 flight. The moonlit wings reflect the stars that guide me towards salvation. I stopped an old man along the way, hoping to find some old forgotten words or ancient melodies. He turned to me as if to say, "Hurry boy, it's waiting there for you." It's gonna take a lot to drag me away from you. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. I bless the rains down in Africa. Gonna take some time to do the things we never had. The wild dogs cry out in the night as they grow restless, longing for some solitary company. I know that I must do what's right, as sure as Kilimanjaro rises like Olympus above the Serengeti. I seek to cure what's deep inside, frightened of this thing that I've become. It's gonna take a lot to drag me away from you. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. I bless the rains down in Africa. Gonna take some time to do the things we never had.
They fired Berhalter?
Yeah, they did.
After 5 long years, Dan,
Yeah.
the national nightmare is over.
If you're listening on the podcast, there was headlines going on with that. It wasn't just Taylor singing "Africa" by Toto.
Good job by Taylor.
Taylor,
How about
man,
that?
what a decision to
Crushed
do
it.
that. Raise Kilimanjaro into Serengeti. Tricky. Proved tricky.
It's funny that you make that helpful addition to the video audio differences, because somebody out there might have been thinking, did I miss the Berhalter lyric in listening so closely to that awful song Taylor produced? I want to ask you guys some questions over the course of the show to legitimately give me some guidance, because I don't know where you have been or what you have talked about. And so I don't know what the national reaction is to video that I saw from Miami and Copa America. I was watching the video and I assumed that the national reaction would be some form of brown people are totally out of control, that they're animals, that we're not ready for the World Cup, and that it looked like, when you've got video of people climbing through air conditioning ducts, it looked like chaos, and it looked like our security, that word is bogus, but everywhere it's bogus. You don't get security just because people are in suits and got earpieces. You don't get security because somebody's wearing a yellow shirt or an orange vest and writes it on the back of a black T-shirt. But this felt like what Miami thought was coming here was like a Dolphin game or a Marlin game or something, and then it just gets overrun by the soccer zealotry that you would normally see anywhere else in the world that isn't America, and from sort of English hooligans.
What Miami got overrun with was the incompetence of governing bodies in soccer. And it's confusing to talk about, and it's pretty loaded. But for this Copa America, the governing body of South America, it's their tournament, organizes everything. The stadium presents plans. This is not the first time South American teams have been playing games. It's not the first Copa America game at Hard Rock Stadium. It's a venue that hosts Formula One, Taylor Swift, WrestleManias, Super Bowls. They have plans. CONMEBOL was presented with the plans, decided to cut corners on those plans because it meant they get to pocket more money. And what you had was a setup unlike anything they've ever had. You get more of a perimeter for Miami Ball State than you did for the Copa America final. And this is a culture that is used to in South America. Plenty of people show up to the gates without a ticket just to be around the atmosphere. You mitigate that by having a perimeter. CONMEBOL eschewed those plans, and now you have a glorious game of multiple parties, stadium, governing bodies, even CONCACAF is in the mix, mayor's office, police department, all pointing fingers at one another, and everyone, and I think this is pretty lazy, and it shows you the failings of local law enforcement, is saying, hey, there's only so much we can do. They're the boss. There's certain concessions that you have to make to acquire a cup final, and hopefully they realize they can never do that again with CONMEBOL.
You, I assume, are coming from a perspective that is protecting people here, Miami, from looking like total lunacy.
Yeah,
and
protecting Latin Americans, Miamians, because that was a really bad look. And I'm not going to excuse the behavior, Dan, because there were some bad apples there, but it was a byproduct of really poor crowd control. That was not Miami. That was not Hard Rock Stadium. That was not even First World.
My question to the group is, okay, because I know that you're coming from a perspective that is both informed and emotionally biased, because when I saw that video, as someone who cares about Miami, who cares about the minorities in Miami, because I don't believe, from what it is that I've heard the scene was here outside of that video, that you will find more of Argentina and Colombia shirts, jerseys, on Sunday patrolling our streets in a way that separates Dade from Broward very much. It separates what Panthers hockey fandom is from what Wayne Huizenga built in Fort Lauderdale, because he didn't like how brown Miami was.
Yeah, so you can't, Dan, I know where you're going with this, and it is a part of the conversation, but I'm not here, like, people are having a go at the spectators, rightfully so, I think. But 3 years ago or so at Wembley Stadium during the Euro final, there were very similar scenes. Taylor Twellman can detail for you how he was calling a match and people were next to him in the press box, and he felt it was very dangerous.
Mike, I don't think you know where I'm going, because I'm coming at this from ignorance. I have no idea what the reaction actually was, but because I'm absorbing everything that's happening around an assassination attempt and everything around a party that is making choices to really bury others, okay? I'm asking how this is being received because I, as a Cuban person, looked at it and said, this is going to be viewed as animals. This is why we build a wall. This is why we talk about Mexico building a wall, because this is why the other side is armed. They're fearing some of what feels like, when it's reported, they fear something that looks out of control and overrun by people who aren't behaving the way they would.
Soccer's dead. No one cared, Dan.
You can rest assured that the reaction isn't what you're fearing. It's not that. I think mostly, thankfully, not many people got hurt. It seems as though very serious.
Messi got hurt in a game.
Yeah.
He did.
That's one of the more serious injuries
MLS season's a joke to everybody, him included, apparently.
Non-contact.
But there is a lot of funny in this. The president of the Colombian Federation got arrested. You know, there was a lot of memes that were born of it. Look, that someone's going to have to pay for the destruction of that 72 club. But I think generally what you're fearing in terms of reaction, I think people realize that there were bigger fish to fry this week, and that's not really a part of the
So it's just
talking
making
points.
fun of Miami for being Miami, right?
Yeah, and it's a complicated thing. Like,
How did the guy think he was going to get into the stadium with that dog? I mean, he did.
he did.
So
That dog was not wearing a service dog vest.
that dog did not have a ticket.
He showed you.
No one had a ticket, apparently.
I do think that some of the laughter that comes Miami's way is earned, because I will tell you that the Zimbabwe airport bathrooms much better than everything at Miami International Airport. Like,
While you were gone, did you see that it was just like MIA was just leaking green ooze? Like from the ceiling. And I don't think anyone ever explained that. We just kind of moved on. The next day, some other story came up. But like, it was raining inside and it was green antifreeze looking like, it looked like a Nickelodeon Kids'
weird,
Choice Award.
yeah.
It was odd.
Yeah.
And then it just took over like a whole like section of the airport, like where there should be people sitting. And then there's just, as far as I know, never an explanation as to what that was.
Are you saying their airports and their bathrooms and their airports are nicer than ours, than Miami? It's the nicest thing in the Miami airport? Because you've never been to the Nathans at Miami Airport. It's the nicest Nathans I've ever been to.
Stugotz.
I'm telling you.
Stugotz, that's one of the most...
And the sushi place is fantastic.
Stugotz, that's one of the most disgusting things you have ever said.
What?
The Miami International Airport is a total dump.
I don't think so.
There's some good parts, but there's two terrifying words. Gate H.
Yeah, but Concourse B, Nathan's, I'm telling you, it's fantastic. It's the nicest Nathan's I've ever been to. It is.
That might say more about Nathan.
It's not saying very much. It's really not.
The man lives in Jupiter. You think he's actually going down to MIA?
I
No, he's
love
flying out of
MIA.
West Palm.
You get out of here.
Duval County Airport.
Sentences I didn't think I'd hear today.
It's the nicest.
You got to find a flight. I'm telling you. When you travel as much as I do, you just go anywhere. Get
Why
on a
not have
flight.
Orlando?
Let's address this for a moment, because I
Go
want
check out the Nathans. I
No,
mean,
the Stugotz. It's not. That's not even my-
underrated fries.
I
too.
have. and
You
they
know what?
are.
Let's send someone there.
It's not that nice.
That's a good
Concourse
idea,
B?
Chris. That's a good idea.
Well, no,
No,
because you
you
have to
gotta
buy
go
someone a
through
plane
security.
ticket.
You gotta go
Isn't it
through
on the-
TSA.
I think you can with an
Is it
ID.
on the
I
other
think
side
you can
of
walk through
security? Is it on
with
the
an
other
ID.
side of security?
No.
Is it-
No, you
Listen,
can't.
At
there's-
some airports you can.
There are multiple
2000
Nathans
maybe.
in MIA. Concourse A has one, C has one, but the nice one is Concourse B. I'm just telling you.
You guys think we can get somebody into the airport sneaking in to check out to do a Nathan's review?
It's on the opposite side of the security check-in. No.
Sneak in. No, sneak in. Like use
Given
the clear.
what we've seen of security, both locally
Right,
and
that's
nationally,
correct.
Just stroll right in.
That's
that
correct.
seems actually like it's pretty easy by comparison.
What is that green ooze? Explain to me what the green ooze.
Antifreeze?
I don't
is-
think anyone ever answered what it was. It's just, look, there it is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just there.
Wow. I went to the Museum of Slime in Chicago a couple weeks ago. That didn't even look like that.
No.
I can't believe what
I would run away
Stugotz
from
is
that.
saying. Yeah, I mean, how could you not? Of course you would run. you
That's
would run
not
away
doctored.
from that.
That's the actual color.
No, yes,
Yes.
it was raining down in the other video. Yeah, that was just there. No one really explained what it was. Stugotz, what's the earliest that you've had a hot dog at Nathan's in an airport?
Oh, wow. Concourse B or just anywhere?
Airport rules don't apply. Like, as soon as you step into the airport, time ceases to exist. You can eat whatever, whenever.
I
right?
would say,
Or drink whatever, whenever.
I live behind that rule for sure.
I've had a hot dog in the 10 o'clock hour in the morning. That's about the earliest I've had a hot dog.
Put it on the poll, please. What is the earliest acceptable time to have a hot dog? Or is it acceptable, I guess, to have a hot dog for breakfast? So how would the question be posed, though, the way that you posed it, Billy, as a poll question? Time ceases to exist?
Yeah, time doesn't matter when you're in an airport. As soon as you walk in, time ceases to exist. You can eat and drink whatever you want at any point in time.
All right, make that a poll question as well, just like that.
Unless you're in Reno, in which everyone leaves at 6 p.m. and you're left to your own devices.
How can Stugotz be arguing, okay, that the Nathans at Miami International Airport...
It's beautiful.
I want to examine this from a couple of angles because...
Brent Maine.
What?
Tom Goodwin.
I think someone got him already.
No, nobody said Tom Gordon.
He said Tom Gordon.
I said Tom Gordon.
Yeah, it's fine.
He's on the TGs of baseball
Yes.
reference, clearly.
Yeah.
Why did you say Tom Gordon?
Flash.
Yeah.
But was he a Royal?
Yeah, he's a Royal.
He was.
Started his career with the Royals.
Of course he was.
I think I
You
may
know that?
I don't think of him as a Royal.
You think it was a Red Sox?
I do. It's Stephen King's favorite.
Ah.
Didn't he write a book about him?
What were you saying, Chris?
I'm saying that I think I found this Nathan's in the Miami International Airport. This is a nice Nathan's.
Thank you.
It is really nice.
Good. Thank you. There it is.
Oh, that's a good spot.
It's beautiful. Look at it, Dan.
But it's just such a backhanded compliment. My point is, I've never thought in any form that Nathan's, that it tastes good, looks good, feels good. It's depression in a hot dog bun. I really did think, Roy, that you were choosing Tom Gordon as a Royal just because he was black. That's the reason.
No.
Odd.
Plenty of black people who have played for the Royals, including Bo Jackson.
Overrated.
But I felt like you were naming most of them, weren't you?
No, I was not naming.
I mean, you roared with laughter. You are Washington.
Brett Saberhagen.
Saves. Mark
But I
Gubicza.
thought that's we have him.
I said
already.
Quisenberry, Dan.
Okay, I'm
Quiz.
sorry. That's my bias. I'm sorry. That's
All
my
right.
racial bias. I missed it. I just assumed that that's what you were doing. I thought it was funny.
Given all the Stephen
Thank you.
King projects that get greenlit, how bad must this book about Tom Gordon be if we haven't seen it yet?
Pablo, I'm reading. I'm in the middle of Stephen King's book on writing right now. I'm in the middle of it. It's fascinating.
Book on writing?
Yes, it's a book on writing by
Is there a
Stephen King.
podcast on podcasting?
Well, apparently, Stephen King has a very easy time writing. He just sits down and gets things done very quickly. It's unusual.
The back half is better than the first half. I won't spoil it for you.
Pablo, I tried to get caught up. I'm woefully behind right now. I've been off the grid, and I saw some of the episode descriptions from last week while you were in charge down here. I was very pleased to see that you and Dom and Samson and Amin helped us out while I was away and not aware. And I'm reading the episode descriptions. Dan Le Batard wears fake glasses. The lazy river of milk. I think there shouldn't be a mental health month anymore. Mr. Thighs, open thigh shorts. Pablo was attacked by nerds. And Chris Cody's top 5 things he wrote down during our interview with a sex therapist. And I really don't know what any of this is about.
It sounds like great work, though. I mean,
yeah, we did you proud, Dan. David Samson said that we shouldn't have a mental health month anymore. He said that we shouldn't have a Black History Month anymore. Yeah.
What?
And he had the most sort of inspired.
What?
David Samson. That's what he said. Billy can verify
It's a
that.
fact,
Chris Cody
Jack.
can verify that. You find the tape. You can roll it at some
I
point.
think what he
maybe
said
during
was
this
why.
breakdown.
Was that before or after he said that the Copa America final would be the safest place to be at?
He also predicted that security would be the big theme of the Copa America when it came to Miami. So he was nailing it on all fronts, and he was, I think, the most popular David Samson has ever been. You guys can back me up on that, but I think we rehabilitated David Samson for a larger audience, despite what those headlines that Dan just read from the feed might suggest.
Mike, it's odd. The safest place in America over the weekend was Lake Tahoe. That's where all the security was with Travis Kelce.
And Jimmy Roberts.
Did you guys just mention all those things about David Samson and not mention that people are accusing him of killing Dr. Ruth?
Oh, yeah, we did. Well, he did. He did kill Dr. Ruth, allegedly, over the weekend. We had the sex therapist on who was fantastic. Fantastic. And her name escapes me. One of you guys can jump in. April Lampert, maybe? Something like that. She was terrific. And David's only really question of urgency was her mentor Dr. Ruth? And she immediately said, no, nothing in anything that I've done, the research you have would suggest that. And that weekend, Dr. Ruth died. So shout out to David Samson for, killing the foremost sex therapist in American history.
Formerly.
Black History Month. Why is that?
Yep, told you.
You think you rehabilitated him?
It worked. Dominique and David Samson at one point, Dan, you will appreciate this, having been on safari while it happened. David Samson jumped into Dominique's arms like a koala bear after executing
It's weird.
a dap that
yeah.
began with a Euro step.
That he called a dib.
Which is, again, video worth revisiting. He called it a dib later. So we're still working on some stuff. But I believe that David Samson has reached across an aisle. And despite canceling Black History Month again, which is what that sound indicated, he did become friends with Dominique, which was shocking. Like, they're really good friends now, which none of us really anticipated, given the aforementioned details we've also presented here.
I think that there shouldn't be a mental health month anymore.
Yep.
David has some human tendencies we found last week.
You're not playing
Yes,
any
we
of them for me.
They were there, though. They were really there. Here it is. Look. This
That's his
is
dib.
David Samson Euro stepping. And then
The leap is a choice.
No, wait a
The
minute.
leap up is a choice.
Wait a minute. You didn't rehabilitate anything with
Tucked
that.
in polo to shorts.
Like he's doing well.
Flip-flops.
He's doing well, doing well, and then the leap.
God.
The leap is
Outfit
where
is a horror
No,
show.
those are the shorts that he can't pickpocket.
Yeah, the pickpocket-proof shorts.
But he tucked in the polo.
Look at the again though
The Euro
the
step.
Manu
Like he's playing at
Ginobili
Valhalla?
into
then
and Dominique just like carrying the
walks
one arm
him over
at
to
one
the
point.
seat. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah,
real
yeah.
message of hope in there, not just for our show, but for America. If those two people can become friends, we all can.
They might love each other now. And by the way, that video, that whole experiment was inspired by the fact that we found the one thing Joe Biden is still awesome at, which is dap. Found a video of him dapping someone up at a Waffle House. And so we just tried to recreate this in an inspiration to the Democratic Party and to democracy in general.
All right.
And I think we healed America in the process, actually.
And then the weekend happened.
Yeah, and then there's that. So
Yeah,
I want,
and then that happened,
I
so
want to
that,
talk to
you know.
Pablo about that for a
Peaks and
second,
valleys.
because we now have a situation where you have, unbelievably, in an election year that's headed straight toward us only having bad choices, only bad choices. I find myself super rattled by what it is that I've come back to, which is an election news cycle that tells me that one candidate is dying and the other can't be killed. And it's unbelievable to watch what it is that I've returned to. And so I just ask you, walk me through what is happening here with classified documents yesterday are allowed now, sort of legal to be keeping secret in your bathroom somehow. And J.D. Vance, who's said very bad things about Trump, and like we played that clip before, he's the guy who stood up and tried to fight, right? Like he wanted just to fight. This is now carbon copy, white copy paper, we're guns, and it's going to be an all-out war from within.
Yeah, there's a lot of this talk about, like, look at the photo of Trump. We're going to teach this in history books to children. And assuming the photo has a caption and a page with text on it, I think it's worth considering what that page will say. And as much as it's impressive that, and fortunate, truly fortunate, that Donald Trump is alive today, I also want to point out that Donald Trump might be the only candidate that Joe Biden conceivably could defeat, because Joe Biden is too old to be a viable presidential candidate and would lose to pretty much everyone other than a guy who, if we did not have goldfish level memory, would not be a reasonable person to reelect. And so all of that is obvious. All of that brings me to J.D. Vance. And the J.D. Vance part of it, Dan, I have a little bit of insight into, because before I said that if I wanted anybody to run for president in America, it would be Dominique Foxworth, the aforementioned koala holding bridge builder from the clip you saw before. And it's because people like Dominique are the opposite of people like J.D. Vance. And by that, I mean J.D. Vance is one of these classic, and I say this with all of the knowing resemblance to this concept in the eyes of my own critics, I suppose. J.D. Vance is the classic Ivy League, thinks he's way smarter than he is, and is transparently power hungry, to the point where he was the guy, yes, calling Donald Trump America's Hitler. He was the guy who would give you chapter and verse about how this man, Trump, is not somebody we should ever want in power. But as soon as the Senate seat opens up, he is, in fact, the opposite of everything he used to say. And so when it just comes to the question of who are we putting in power when it comes to personal ideology, agenda, forget about J.D. Vance wanting to ban pornography and wanting to ban abortion for even cases of rape and incest, all of which he has said before. Just think about whether you trust this guy, the guy who goes from that to now standing next to Trump. It's just none of us should trust him. On either side of the aisle, nobody should trust J.D. Vance. And so the fact that he is now in this family photo too feels like a perfect encapsulation for a textbook, certainly, but I don't think the caption there is one of heroism. It's one of, oh, of course all of this is happening in this way. It's kind of exactly what is supposed to happen at this part of a horrible movie.
Pablo, I don't trust any of them on either side. Like you're saying, why should we trust J.D. Vance? Why should we trust Joe Biden?
I want Joe Biden out of this race, man. It's insane to me. It's insane that we are, to Stugotz's point, You watch him and you're like, we should not have so little high ground in this argument when it comes to telling people something that they can plausibly believe when it comes to this is what your eyes are seeing and this is what they're telling you. I think Joe Biden's age, which is a different category of problem, is unsustainable. And again, if you want to stop the other side, Stugotz, there's a football metaphor here, right? You don't want to do what the other team's coach is begging you to do. And it's very clear that everybody on the Trump Republican MAGA side of things wants to run against Joe Biden. And Trump is the only person Joe Biden could beat, except, again, I just don't think it's plausible anymore given how bad his performances have been and how obvious and undeniable all of it feels now. So, yeah, I don't blame you, and that is a problem, a fundamental problem for how much of a layup otherwise this election should be on the actual substance of anything.
You nailed it. Any given Sunday.
By the way,
yeah,
Dan, can I just propose one thing as a question that I wanted to have the answer to? Are your glasses fake?
No. Why? I mean, why would they be fake? I've got problems reading.
Last week, we all wore your glasses and the ones under your desk, and there was clearly no prescription there.
No,
And
are you talking about
now
any
all
of the ones that were in the cases? Because there was one around here, like a plastic one around here, that was like some fake glasses of Stugotz's. Did you try the one in the cases? Like, why would my glasses be fake? Like I'm Bryant Gumbel trying to fool people into intellect?
We had trouble trusting you last week, is what I'm saying. It wasn't those glasses Stugotz is wearing. It was the other glasses.
Okay.
No, but
Billy?
these are the only two that are here that are prescription glasses. Look, I don't want to sound defensive here. If you want to accuse me of being...
sounds like you are very...
I mean, you're blind.
We thought maybe they were blue light glasses, but you have now dispelled that theory.
It's okay if it's
Yeah,
prescription,
so-
Dan.
I would show
even
you...
less plausible now.
I would show you very expensive receipts for glasses that suggest...
Expensive part's a little unnecessary.
That, well,
Tax
no.
returns?
No, because why would I buy
Go
expensive...
to a pharmacy, get
why
one
would-
and a half. I mean,
Why would I buy expensive fake glasses?
That's what we're asking.
Yep. America wants to know.
It's so how do I address what you're asking me? How do I prove what you're asking me? Because I do like the idea of me as a character who's not equipped to actually discuss anything that's happening politically in America right now, but is trying to appear as a fake intellectual. Like I like the character of fake glasses to make me try to look smarter when I can't discuss, assassination attempts because what the fuck's going on in America, man?
I mean, you did start the show today with like a 20-minute monologue under a spotlight. So the fake glasses kind of feel like a big part of whatever
It's so
it is
much
that's
better
happening
as a
now.
character. God almighty.
It works for Joe Madden. I mean,
I should do it. I don't know how to defend myself against you without sounding defensive, but these are glass. Like I have trouble
we
reading.
Looked through the lenses, and there were no prescription. Everybody who was in the container last week, we all took turns, and all of us could detect no difference
Is
in
this
prescription.
maybe a
So
placebo
I don't know
thing?
What's happening?
Like maybe a placebo
So
thing?
maybe am I wrong? Maybe my eyes are lying to me, literally. Like
Someone's lying to you.
Like they or my doctor.
Not me this time,
So
I
we
mean.
can't trust anybody, is what you guys are saying. It's not just Vance and Trump. We can't trust anybody. Not my doctors. Not what I'm telling you. It's all AI. It's all misinformation. Hell. You can't tell me the last 3 days, Pablo, with Daily Show and MSNBC like having to cancel stuff. You cannot tell me that the media is not running scared from the fact that Dana White's on Pat McAfee and they're all saying, yeah, Trump, Trump, Trump.
It's a fair point. It does turn out that you literally cannot trust your own eyes. So that's a good place to land, I guess. I found that out this week. Dan Le Batard is actually biologically incapable of trusting his own eyeballs.
Well, that's where we are. I'm just getting I am not equipped to discuss the insanity in America right now because I can't see anything clearly. Like all I see is black and white. That's all I see, and brown, and some brown.
Little yellow, maybe sometimes.
let me see these.
Sometimes.
Wait a minute. These are not racist colored glasses.
Not nearly
These
enough.
are
Oh, these are fake. I mean,
Thank you.
What do you mean, thank you?
Thank you.
They're not fake. How do I prove this to you and get out of the quicksand of we're still doing
Put
this?
the glasses over the lens of the camera. There will be no difference. No difference.
All right.
Let America see through your eyes.
how are those on you, by the way?
People are wondering.
CVS.
People are wondering. Hey,
$8.50.
we're
Mother goose ass glasses.
Yeah, you look like
That's
Mrs.
right.
Claus.
It's the other ones, Chris.
Chris, you've got the wrong glasses.
Those are Stugotz's.
Chris, it's the other one.
No,
Chris,
Those
you're-
are mine.
you're-
Stugotz's
These
are
are real
real.
glasses.
Yeah.
It's the
Chris,
other one.
all right,
Yeah,
I'm the
yeah,
one
yeah.
who can't see
There you
clearly.
go.
I'm the one.
That's your
You know what I
smudge.
can't see clearly?
Dang! Look.
We should have another executive producer. This is a really tough position you guys have put me in because I don't want to let this go, and I know we're in the quicksand. I don't think that it's a good subject to continue. There are serious things going on in the world. But I have now been accused of something publicly that you guys all think like I'm a liar, and I can only sound defensive in the face of that. And I'm trying to defend myself because it's only the God's honest truth that I have trouble seeing. I reveal all of myself to you all the time. I'm not trying to lie to anybody.
It's not a strong prescription, and I do find it funny that you're confused. Like, you put your glasses on, and you're like, look, it looks totally like these are fixing my eyes. What are you talking about? Yeah, that's what glasses do.
But if you guys, I am reading, you think it's a placebo.
They're doing their job.
I can't read things that I've written here. Look, aging sucks, man. Ask Biden. Aging sucks, man. And so I can't. My eyesight and my health are going.
Yeah, but like reading things are more of an issue than anything, right? So you kind of just got like a souped up pair of reading glasses.
You also that's how placebos work. You wouldn't know if they were fake or not.
Right.
Also, if a rich man walks into my eye doctor's office?
Optometrist?
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. What's the place called though?
Costco.
No,
Restaurant.
Silence office.
Eye restaurant.
There, though.
Yeah, so I'd say like prescription office. Yeah, I would struggle around that
If
too.
a rich guy walks in and he's like, I need glasses, and he doesn't need glasses, guess what I'm telling him? Here's your prescription, sir.
Yeah.
Have a nice day.
Yeah.
We'll charge your insurance $7,000.
All right, but I'm sorry.
I got another one of those Hollywood whales.
Okay, so Hollywood hippos. So what? The part I'm not really understanding.
Doctor, someone from the cabal is here.
This is what I walk into a place. I will grant you that in Miami Beach, this is funny because it is an eye place that is in the building
An eye place
of like a condo, but it's
probably what it says on the marquee.
Eye place. And it's just an eye.
I don't understand because, like, you said you go to your dentist and they give you massages and stuff. Like, are you sure you're going to doctor's offices?
It's Miami Beach, man, and I do like Stugotz's idea of me just always walking in majestically into an eye place with an eye, just like, yes, please, let's talk more about me. A place where I can put on my phony glasses and pretend to be smart and say, in this eye store, let's compete with Apple for this. You walk in.
Is there just like an eyeball? Because like maybe you're walking to like an Illuminati office or something.
No.
Is there any triangles?
It's just the letter I. And they go in and say, sir, $200. Talk about me.
Your copay is $200. Your insurance is getting
But the
dinged.
thing I'm not understanding about fashion or whatever it is you guys are talking about when you say prescription is I went and bought reading glasses. Is this something? Are you assuming I'm doing this for fashion or style when they fogged up on me the first time I started wearing them?
You could not possibly be doing that for fashion.
The thing is,
that's
like,
why I feel bad for you in this debate because you're out of moves.
When you buy reading glasses, they need to put a prescription in. Simply the act of buying them doesn't mean that they have a prescription.
These glasses, all I will tell you is that these glasses, I went in for testing. They go and test my eyes. They tell me I've got
the move.
some danger. Okay, well,
That's how they get you.
all right, no, but I'm going to tell you more of the story because it gets worse.
Get
Okay,
that last row.
I will tell you now. You guys have got me. All right, let's do this. Let's do this as a show. All right, let's just go through my assortment of ailments and reveal myself entirely to the audience. We already went through gallbladder surgery. That was a winner right up the top. Now let's go to where and how I'm aging, because what I'm about to tell you is true. I've been having panic attacks. I've been passing out. The last 2 years have been really bad, okay, just over here. I go in and they tell me, hey, you got to get tested for glaucoma like immediately. You got to do that immediately. And I go on a day I'm supposed to meet Skipper for something to do some business thing, and we go to the offices and I just pass out. I pass out and he has to drive me home. Somewhere within all of that, I needed glasses. And I went to a place where they scanned my head and did all sorts of brain stuff. I've had enough of those for 2 years.
Just for glasses?
And I just need to read better because it's kind of important to what we're doing around here. I know I got a couple of people who can't read, but I've got to be able to read things. I can't read my own handwriting. I can't see. I'm getting old. It sucks so much. Look what happened to Colin Cowherd yesterday with Jeter. He made Nolan Ryan in Derek Jeter's age, an error, and I'm looking at it. That's a mistake I can make. I get errors confused all the time in baseball. Stugotz and I had a discussion the other day about the 80 Pirates, and he was naming like 1970 Pirates.
I was. I've lost my touch on that game.
That's what happens with getting old.
Yeah.
I can't read without glasses. Why am I being accused of being a liar? I don't want to tell the audience all these things.
I mean, we held the prescription up to the camera.
What does that prove? That's not science.
Everything.
It actually proves a lot. I could grab someone else's glasses and you'd see how much it would prove.
Also,
Andy Van Slyke, Stugotz.
Wow.
Andy Van Slyke.
Wow.
Nolan Ryan retired after the 93 season, and Derek Jeter was drafted in 1992.
How
So it
did
wasn't
Nolan
that
Ryan?
crazy.
How did Nolan Ryan
Ryan
not
Express.
win a Cy Young? I think about it. These are the things you think about when you're riding around in the passenger seat in a gummy at Lake Tahoe. I mean, never won a Cy Young. Nolan Ryan. Think about that. That's crazy. That's insane.
Let's talk for a second about the mistake that went
Take
viral.
that out of my observation.
Compiler?
Oh, that was a little riff you had in your observations?
Yeah, I got to cross it out.
It's one of the laziest things you do, and that's a library of shit.
27 years. I mean, you're going to have the most wins and strikeouts and all that if you pitch for 27 years.
You guys are
right?
saying Nolan Ryan is a compiler.
We're asking.
You guys could not foul off a Nolan Ryan fastball at his age, whatever it presently is.
I don't know about that.
I mean, come on.
That
You
guy
get Ryan here.
Nolan
I can
Ryan-
tell you I can touch that ball.
Nolan Ryan can still throw 90.
No chance.
No way.
No way.
Still throw 90?
No way, Jose.
I mean, he's 77.
Wasn't there a story that Nolan Ryan, like at the time, was suggested to have what I guess was Tommy John surgery, and he's like, nope. And then it healed itself
All
in
right.
the offseason.
This is the bullshit I won't allow from you young people who don't know anything, okay?
Yeah.
Telling me Nolan Ryan is overrated. I
I'm
want
se-
you to put on the screen here. Hold on a second, Chris. I want to put on the screen here Lenny Kravitz right now at the age of 60. I want to look. I would vote for this man for president right now if you put him on the ballot just because he takes care of himself, and I'd like that from a president. Just seems to take care of himself well. Nolan Ryan, who like invented throwing harder than everyone else and never broke down throwing the 100 miles an hour and having however many no-hitters, you will not blaspheme against Nolan Ryan by telling me Billy Bunt can foul off anything.
A 77-year-old does? Yes, I can.
No?
Yes.
14
I can absolutely
We need to
foul
set it
off
up
a-
then. All right.
14 years ago, he only threw 85.
Okay,
Which
see?
is impressive as a 63-year-old, but that
Yes,
was like a feat
right.
he did at 63.
All right. And now he's throwing breaking stuff. Let's see what Billy does with that.
I mean, you said foul off. I can foul it
No.
off.
There's movement.
Yeah,
No,
but he decides to go with the
not going to
off-speed
foul it
stuff.
off. You underestimate how good these people are through eternity.
Not at 77.
Okay.
I mean, he had 292 losses.
You're an ageist.
Wait, through eternity, you think if I
Nolan
pitched Babe
Ryan
Ruth
is
a pitch,
younger than our
his
presidential
corpse is gonna hit a home
candidates.
run? Get out of here. Babe Ruth.
Oh, you'd hit a gapper off the presidential candidates, too. I'm with you, Billy.
Well, that's true. You, yes, for sure. You guys
Have you
would-
seen Biden's golf swing? You haven't seen it.
Man, that would have been electric, huh? If the
I
two
would-
of them played golf.
I'm telling you, it would be the highest rated golf match of all
Sporting
time.
event.
The
of
match
all
on
time.
TNT.
If they were playing for the presidency.
Could you imagine?
I
What
mean,
is Netflix doing? Think we want to see Kobayashi again? Come on.
winning. What is Netflix doing?
Well, put that on.
Okay, we should go just lowest common denominator.
I was a 6, man. He's like, I've seen your swing.
What are you doing there?
That
You
was
doing
my
the-
Biden
Yeah.
into my fake
Are
Trump.
you
Yeah.
going to need to work on that? Shane
I'll tell
Gillis
you,
is
man.
killing you.
Come on, man. We got to come together. Man. Who's that? That's my Biden. He says
That's
man
your
at the end of
Biden?
things.
Says man that much.
It's never good when I'm confused as to which of the
That's not
candidates
terrible.
it is.
Come on.
Now
We
do
gotta
your
come
Nolan
together.
Ryan.
You want to have a
Now do
conversation?
Nolan.
Do you
Yeah,
want to have a
do
conversation
Nolan
with
Ryan
limited fake Pierce Brosnan from 1997's Dante's
on.
Peak?
What are we doing here? We got to come together. I'm going to turn into a Roomba.
Now he's just doing Shane Gillis as
what?
Joe Biden.
I just can't imagine Joe Biden's leg kick and where it is that ends up.
It is time for Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Weekend observations brought to you by Miller Lite. Great taste, just 96 calories, available for delivery. Dan, it's my favorite week, third favorite week on the sports calendar. The history, the gusty winds, the lack of sun, golfers playing in ski caps, Royal Troon, and Dan, just like that. Make no mistake about it. Open Championship Week is back.
You guys are going to do a golf and tennis show, aren't you? You and Mike Ryan are
This is how we age.
We were good on tennis yesterday.
Yeah, we were solid.
Yeah.
If I do say so myself.
Would Howard Bryant say that? Howard Bryant, who once tore both his hamstrings getting out of bed, he really knows tennis. He's been trying to advocate for tennis. No place for it at Meadowlark. You guys are saying that you just did the best 6 minutes of tennis in the history of this show?
No, I'm saying we did 6 minutes.
Yes.
And for that, I'm grateful. And I also did limited fake Pierce Brosnan from 1997.
It was on. Yeah.
Chris, I encourage you please to keep working. We need a Trump and we need a Biden. You're the only hope we've got.
And Nolan Ryan.
Soon enough, I'll get you to bite and ask me for it.
Donald Trump playing golf the day after someone tried to assassinate him. Hockey player. Dan, if you think Africa is hot,
what, Roy?
You should try Las Vegas on for size.
Please don't compare him to hockey players, please.
Listen,
don't insult me like that.
Stugotz, you guys don't understand. There's a lane. Stugotz knows it for the asshole. He's the closest thing to the right that we got. We're too woke.
What?
We're too left. Stugotz says, I'm annoyed by all of them, and he's a man of the people. That's the way you play it. Stugotz is a good lane.
I was helping Pablo out there.
Have you met Tony? If not, you can meet him on Wednesday.
Fair enough.
For the Tony Show.
Fair
an
enough.
ensuing best ball draft.
Thank you,
and
Mike.
it's all presented by DraftKings.
Okay. They need
Hustle
to do that
Gang's
show.
going to be there.
Look, you tell me there's not a good show, and Stugotz and Tony trying to grab more sports audience on the right with a show that just says, we're right. Tell me there's not money in that.
We have to put the town on alert.
Jose Alvarado leads Puerto Rico to their first Olympics since 2004. I only tell you that to tell you this. His nickname is Grand Theft Alvarado.
It's good. It's a good one, Mike. It was a good one.
It's all I can do. He also says volcano at one point. And he never actually says that he's from Europe because he does attempt an American accent, but it's mostly just have to put the town on alert.
Group A in Olympic basketball. Canada, Spain, Greece, Australia, otherwise known as the group of death. Greece is adopting a 6-day work week. Who do they think they are? Meadowlark Media? Dan. You know
Greece is?
Greece is, yes.
All the way up from 2?
Yes, they're up to 6. How about that? Yeah. You know what the M in Meadowlark stands for?
Wait a minute. What you?
Mykonos.
Okay. Hold on a second. What am I being accused of? Making everybody work 6 days a week?
I'm not accusing you of anything. Pointing it out.
But is that an accusation that anyone else other than Stugotz is willing to make while expense accounting us from Tahoe for a word of work?
I could speak a word into a microphone.
I would never cower to my co-founder asking me that direct question over the microphones. Football season's just around the corner, folks.
Oh, dear God. Oh, dear God. God help us.
Oh, man. Carlos Alcaraz defeats Novak Djokovic. Dan, you know what the C in Carlos Alcaraz stands for?
I do not.
Changing of the guard. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, like, that
What
was
happened there?
well, but I imagine,
here.
this is what I would say. I imagine that you guys, I don't know everything you've talked about, but I imagine if you did 6 minutes of tennis, holy shit, the era of tennis that we just came through. Oh, my God. Those 3 guys, all Michael Jordans at the same time of their sport.
That was a solid 4.5 minutes of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty great time we came
Yeah,
through.
we dedicated 30 seconds to the 2008 Wimbledon final.
Yeah. I mean, Alcaraz beat one of the Jordans in straight sets.
I know because they're getting old. It sucks to get old.
Where we were taking it is like, who can actually challenge this guy?
Right.
Who's the Nadal? Who's the Novak Djokovic? Who won?
Fritz. I like Fritzy.
Yeah, we got some good Americans.
Yeah, we do. Tennis is in a good place. It really is.
We just need these other guys to come online. Sinner, Medvedev.
You always think it's going to be in a bad place. Serena's out, Djokovic, Federer, they're out. Nadal is out. But there's always guys working. There's kids working around the world, Dan, at their craft. There's always the next great tennis player right around the corner.
Let me
I
walk
fall
that
for
one
it
back.
every time.
Medvedev, properly online, just
Yeah.
more consistent. Let's see emotions get the best of him.
Yeah.
Such a man.
Mm-hmm.
Put the town on alert.
We buzzsaw through children hitting a ball lonely and create them very young into these robots who risk their mental health to hit a hit a ball again and again and again. Devour our young. Feed on them. Yes, the tennis machine churns on. Fed by tiny young people who shouldn't be so competitive at 9 years old hitting a ball.
The fan who caught Carlos Santana's 30 for 30 ballpark home run asked for Giant season tickets in exchange for the ball. The Twins declined. He got batting gloves. Hey, pal, next time get a lawyer.
Are you Don Johnson?
I just did that.
Pal.
I don't know why I
pal.
threw a pal in there.
Hey,
Mike,
pal.
Mike, I meant to ask you. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Stugotz.
That's okay.
You were accused by Greg Cody. I'm sorry Greg Cody is not here today. I don't know why he's not here. You were accused by subpoena by Greg Cody of elderly abuse and what else? Age discrimination because you hit him with 3 pals.
Yeah.
3 pals. Stugotz only used 1.
No, but he said hey in front of it.
Hey, pal.
Which is an homage to Miami Vice.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't let it go unnoticed. We have to put the
What's
town
the-
on alert.
It wasn't even written down.
What's the status of your legal thing with Cody and where's
Turns out that's not a real law office.
where's Cody?
He's coming back from Europe.
Huh.
How dare he take vacation during an important time?
I mean, the ESPYs were on.
Open Championship
We
week.
dedicated 12 minutes straight to celebrity golf.
In this week's edition of July, First Take debated who was under the most pressure to win a title. The Cowboys, the Lakers, or the Yankees. What are we doing?
Sports television. Give me $30 million a year. That's what we're doing.
And it's the Cowboys.
I know, but that's what you're doing. I mean, Skip built an empire over there, and now he leaves, and he's too old. Aging sucks.
Yep.
And what are you looking at, Billy?
Well, because you were talking before the show, if Skip gets a day on First Take, imagine that lineup.
He
a
deserves
day
a
with
day.
Shannon,
Yeah.
a day with Skip, a day with Mad Dog.
He should be able, like football players, like athletes do, go back to his original team at First Take, have a day, and retire there.
I guarantee.
That's a great idea.
Thank you.
That's
great
going to happen.
idea.
That is going to happen. Skip is going to show up and have a dedicated
Here,
day.
let's do it Let's do it right now. Let's do it right now. Let's urge ESPN, please
It
give
likely
us
won't
that
be
day.
Shannon's day. Shannon and Skip will not be
Please
there the
give
same
us
day.
that day. Just what, man, that Bayless deserves to go out like that.
Mad Dog and Skip on the same day,
Just
though.
a-
I mean, that's what dreams
No,
are
but
made
a
of.
rocket ship. ESPN is claiming that First Take can exist without Stephen A. Smith. That's what they're claiming. Please, dear God, ESPN, I'm imploring you, let us have Skip Bayless Day one last time at First Take, just so all of us in sports media could shoot a rocket out of our ass and get one last great show out of hating LeBron James for 20 years.
Is that what they're claiming when they say Stephen A. will give you $18 million a year, but 25 is a little too much?
Billy, if you guys want to talk about this,
No.
all right.
You brought it up.
I mean, there's good shit here. Oh my God, is there good shit here? There is. I promise you. McAfee has a deal for $30 million a year with his production deal. He can pay for Saban and he can pay for, oh my God. And why wouldn't Stephen A. want more than all of that?
They go get it, or
I mean,
How much?
A chair just came over to Fox where they can take their whole outfit wherever they want to go if Shannon wants to break his contract.
How much pent-up media observations do you have over the last half a month? I can only imagine.
I mean, the floor is yours. Go
No.
ahead.
I mean, and
no.
you got manna from heaven with the Skip Bayless news
Oh
yesterday.
my God. It was healing.
Here's an excuse to talk about
Oh,
it.
it was healing.
As
Please-
if it's fresh.
Please let me escape to sports. It's the ultimate irony. Please let me escape to sports so I don't have to talk about an assassination attempt. It's unbelievable that that's where I end up at the end of my career.
If I told you before your vacation to Africa that all this would happen, and then the Monday after it, the lights would turn on in this studio, mics crack open, and it's your former executive producer and Stugotz left with the task to address our audience on the matter. Would you have gone?
To a healing place of love and laughter and life with my wife and a good friend. No, I would have just been here, sitting in the seat. That's correct.
I'm still on page 1.
Yeah, it's going to be a minute.
Woj tweeting, Paul George to the Sixers at 3:30 a.m. The Scoop's life has to be a misery.
God.
It really has to.
So bad.
Shams, meanwhile, missed it because he was sleeping. You know what they say, Dan? You snooze, you lose.
I feel bad for all those guys. They have to be crazy people.
I feel bad for Shams. He was sleeping.
I know, but
And
they
the bird
can't
gets the
sleep.
worm.
They can't sleep. They're not allowed to sleep.
Whoa, I found a second thing to say.
Woj is lurking at 2 a.m.
I mean, what is Shams doing sleeping at 3:30 in the morning? Terrible job.
Oh, my God.
Your job is to stay awake. Just wait for a text. Anyway.
Pent-up media observations. Those guys are paid so much to be made crazy by their jobs.
Soccer isn't soccer if the Italians aren't good. Fair? Baggio?
That's about all you know?
That's the only one I know.
That's about, okay, yeah. It's a long time ago.
Yeah. Dallas, if you think you're a Klay Thompson away, I got news for you. You're not.
Does he look old? Does he look broken? Does he look like he's not going to look the way that he looked with Golden State?
He looks like he can be an upgrade over Tim Hardaway Jr., though.
No. Isaiah Hartenstein.
Nice. You got it.
Yeah. He left New York. They treated him like Patrick Ewing there.
They really did.
Congratulations. In Oklahoma City, you go back to being Isaiah Hartenstein.
But that's what he was.
Yeah, but he was Patrick Ewing. Now he's Hartenstein.
He sold out for the money, unlike Brunson, right? Brunson took a discount, right?
He did.
That happened while I was away.
And they're saying Bridges is going to do the same thing.
Who does that?
Bridges.
That's not a thing we're doing anymore in sports, is it?
Oh, Brady.
It's a little suspicious.
A Mets-Nationals game finished in under 2 hours. I miss the long games. Why are we in such a rush?
No.
I do.
Dude,
I miss them.
I was at a Cubs game for the first time ever a couple weeks ago. I was stunned. My wife and daughter went to the bathroom in the 7th inning. The game was over by the time they came back.
It's wonderful.
Wild.
Well, slow it down.
It's so
They
great.
fixed all of it.
But why are we rushing? We're rushing everywhere. That was the one place, baseball, where you didn't rush.
This isn't
It was
lane for you.
timeless.
Pastoral, yes. This is. There are no clocks. Yes, it was timeless. And now they've got a clock on it. Why? Because hurry up.
Yeah.
2 hours, we need all our money.
A hot dog eating contest without Joey Chestnut isn't a hot dog eating contest in my personal record book, StugottsBook.com.
What's
Hey.
happening with that?
We're writing it. We're selling it.
Why do you think he was at Tahoe?
A couple of blurbs. Got someone else to
You
write
were,
a chapter.
you were collecting blurbs in Tahoe? You were.
Maybe I asked Jason Kelsey.
You've asked a lot of people to contribute to this book. I hope they're all getting like a nice fruit basket or something.
We're figuring something out. We don't know what it is yet. I'll get back to you on it.
So it's Stugotz using all his powers to write a book that hasn't been written, using every person he can ask something from in the next few months.
Listen, the book has been written. It's been delivered. We're ready to go. Just waiting on you, pal.
People are saying they're me.
Forward. I mean,
I
How
wrote
can
it
it
for
both
you
be written,
already.
delivered, and you're waiting for someone?
well, I mean,
Me? What do you mean me? I sent you the forward already.
I know.
What do you mean I know?
A little lengthy.
Oh, he wants it edited.
Why are you blaming me for this book?
I'm not blaming you. The book is fine. The book is, it's happening. It's going to be released in early December. Right in time for the holidays.
November 26th,
Like I said,
2024.
late November, right in time for the holidays. There you go. But the book is done. Listen, I saw Jay Billis in Tahoe. I thanked him. He's a co-author of the book. I thanked him. I said we're going to do something for his charity. I mean, and your forward was great. I mean, I just haven't gotten through it all yet. That's all. I know you've asked me a couple of times, but it's on me. It's not you.
On page 2 yet?
I forgive me. I'm just legitimately stunned by this because I wrote it for Stugotz and I said, I think this is too mean. You asked me to make it mean, and I'm roasting you, and this doesn't feel right. And can you send it back to me if this is like not gentle enough? I need your wife to read it. Like, this doesn't feel right to me.
I have to read it first.
Okay.
I'm getting to it. Hey, Bertoletti, do it against Chestnut, and then do it against Kobayashi, and then do it 15 more times. Cubs reliever, Colton Brewer, broke his hand after punching the wall in the dugout. He fought the wall, and the wall won.
That's pretty good. That's like the first good pun you've had in about 7 months. That's excellent.
Thank you. If you didn't have pigs in a blanket on the 4th of July, guess what? You didn't celebrate the 4th of July.
Is that right? Put that on the poll, Juju. Is
Yep.
that right? I don't feel like that.
It's not right.
That's not my.
In fact, it's wrong.
He's been pretty consistent about pigs in a blanket his
I love
entire
it.
broadcast
I thought
career.
it was- Thank you.
I thought it was cocktail hour at the wedding you wanted.
It's that and Masters Week. I mean,
What are we using pigs? Is that a July 4th thing?
yeah, of course.
I mean, no. I've
hot
never been at.
dogs?
I've never
Hot
been
dogs?
I've never been at a 4th of July party where someone brings around a tray of
Whoa.
pigs in a blanket.
You've never celebrated the 4th of July? How about that?
But wait a minute. Are pigs in a blanket?
Go to J.J.
even-
Watt's house.
Are they actually hot dogs? They're
Is
not
it-
hot dogs. He's
Wait.
saying they're hot dogs. They're not hot dogs.
Well, they kind of resemble that, but you did like introduce a new thought in that he might not actually know what pigs in a blanket are, and he may have been confusing them with hot dogs this entire time.
Perhaps.
For his whole career? For Mike, that
just
can't
said
be.
perhaps.
For his whole career, he's thought pigs in a blanket. Mike.
you
Pick that
can't.
up.
You
On
can't.
Wikipedia, it says in the United States, pigs in a blanket are small hot dogs.
Thank you. Mini
Or
hot
other
dogs.
sausages.
I had Nathan's. I'm telling you. I mean,
He may not actually know.
Bed's about to end.
the Jason
Also July
Pierre-Paul
16th.
top 5 athletes that connote the 4th of July.
Town on alert.
He has naming rights. OLI. Steve Sparks. Rocket Ismail.
You won that. If you do it one more, if you surprise me with it one more time, I'm leaving.
Number 5. I didn't say anything yet. I just said number 5. Cooper Flagg.
He's good.
Number 4. Red Grange. I wasn't done. Whitey Ford and Blue Edwards. Bear Grylls. Number 2, Joe Nathan. Number 1, Lonnie Walker, the 4th.
I was looking for where's that fourth? Where's that fourth? Where's he going to find? Are there any other fourths?
Nah.
Are there any other in sports history? Someone who goes around out there with the Royal Fort.
Kelly Olynyk is a Raptor.
Oh, you know what news I did get on Safari? Quickly's worth 100 and how many million?
I think it was 160. That's crazy.
I mean, what?
You're on a weird algo because of, I
Nothing
guess, all
got
the
through with
Knicks
that.
coverage.
Why is ESPN sending me alerts when Bronny makes a layup in Summer League? And they haven't sent many. I mean,
What are they sending you?
alerts.
Alerts.
3-12 in his first Summer League game for the Lakers. You know what Dalton couldn't do, Dano? Connect. The B in Bronny stands for bust.
Oh, wow. Already. Get there fast.
The N in Bronny stands for nepotism. The other N stands for a second helping of nepotism. Greg Berhalter. Can't trust a Greg with 2 G's.
Put it on the poll, please. Can you
wish Greg
trust
was
a
here.
Greg with 2 G's? Greg's isn't with 2 G's. You know this, yes?
He would co-sign that.
Yeah, but he would agree.
He's a big anti 2Gs guy.
Houston Airport. How about a bathroom? You know what the H in Houston Airport stands for, Dan? How about a bathroom?
About a bathroom.
I mean,
yeah.
you can't find one.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I got to zip through these. The American Century Championship has become my 5th major. Top 5 athletes and entertainers who connote a lake. Number 5, Victoria Beckham. Thank you, Roy. Number 4, Ricky Lake. Number 3, Paul George. Number 2, Raleigh Fingers. And number 1, Ontario Smith. Whit Merrifield is a Philly. Top 5 athletes that connote something you would find on a lake. OLI. Eddie House.
Why are we doing this?
Tim Wakefield. I was on a gummy. This is prime gummy me walking around Tahoe. This is prime, right?
Tahoe, a lake. Okay,
Yeah.
so a lake with a gummy.
There's something beautiful about you taking your vacation time just by yourself to gummy it out on Lake Tahoe.
It was, and then the Sphere.
And not work, just chill.
Loved it. Hang out with Kelsey.
Kids out of the house.
Ask a bunch of people to write pages in your book for free that may or may not come out.
A couple of blurbs.
Blurbs. I need to hear more about you trying to collect blurbs at this Tahoe thing.
I need blurbs. I'm told they're important. Tim Wakefield.
Didn't you say that already?
Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Danny Ferry. Algie Crumpler. Patrick Rafter. Bobby Orr. Rod Carew. Sam Bowie. Marty Fish.
Okay.
Tim Salmon.
All right, yeah, we can do this for a while.
Mike Trout.
Steve Trout.
I miss the days when the Red Sox-Yankees game would lead Sports Center. Taylor. Rest in peace to the great Dr. Ruth. In honor of Dr. Ruth, top 5 Ruths of all time. It's a long vacation, man.
Yeah, a lot of gummies.
Number 5, Ruth Riley. Number 4, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Number 3, Babe Ruth. Number 2, Dr. Ruth. Number 1, Ruth Chris. Top 5 doctors all time.
Steakhouse joke.
OLI, Dr. Jerry Buss. Dr. Jerry Punch. Number 5, Dr. Jack. Number 4, Dr. James Andrews. Number 3, Dr. J.
How many threes has this been?
Number 2, Dwight Gooden, Dr. K. Number 1, Dr. Ruth. Reese Hoskins is a brewer.
Doc Ellis?
Oh, Doc Ellis.
I forgot one.
Doc Ellis.
Psychedelics.
You mentioned Trout. There was a stat that I saw the other day. Mike Trout hasn't played on the 4th of July since 2019.
What?
It's wrong. Un-American.
If I was an athlete, I'd be insulted to be traded for cash considerations. Only thing worse is getting traded for a player to be named later. Imagine being so bad that your team says, hey, we'll figure it out when we get to it. Just get the hell out of here. Speaking of hell, Art Briles. Dan, those are the weekend observations.